Let the flame fill the night. When we touch, then we ignite. Let the flame fill the night. You and me light up the sky. 'Cause we are fire and we're burning. Won't put it out, even though we're hurting. Let the flame fill the night. When we touch, then we ignite.
How's it going, guys? Today we're checking out what I think has become my all-time favorite budget cinema lens. A while back I unboxed the Samyang T1.5 85mm cinema lens and did some studio tests and was like, yeah, this is a nice lens. But just recently I've done a lot of real-world use of this guy, and taking a look at the footage, I am absolutely blown away. I'm working on sort of a promo highlight video for the U of M men's gymnastics team, and with this lens on the Canon 1DX Mark II, the results are just magical. So I think one of my biggest criticisms of this lens when I first unboxed it was that it has no autofocus whatsoever, and that's kind of one of my favorite things of the 1DX is because it has such great dual pixel autofocus, but this lens has no form of autofocus whatsoever. That means you have to use a follow focus such as what I have set up on this rig right here. Now, even though this basically doubles the weight of the setup I had before, because I also have to have a monitor to check focus, I have to say the creativity that pulling focus gives you completely changes the way you think about how you're making your film. So now when I switch back to my autofocus lenses, it now feels like I'm too far removed from the subject. It just feels like I'm not part of making the film anymore. I know for most people, buying a lens with zero autofocus would send it right out the window. And it's because we've become so dependent on autofocus, like all of our smartphones just automatically do it for us. I feel like it's really kind of taking away from the creativity of filmmaking. So this was the first time I really went all in on manual focus, and I have to tell you, it definitely takes some time getting used to. It's a skill you have to practice just like all of your other camera manipulations. But once I got the hang of how to keep a subject in focus while they're moving, which obviously for gymnastics that is no easy task, it really was just such a satisfying feeling to be able to have complete 100% control over the camera like nothing I've done before. Another thing that I really love playing around with and definitely makes your video super cinematic is foreground movement, especially if it's super out of focus, like what this is able to do. And if you had autofocus, it would try to focus on that foreground subject, which really isn't a subject, it's just kind of like random stuff getting in your shot, and you want to keep your focus on your subject. That's where a follow focus system is able to do this, because it's not going to try to focus on what is in front. It's not going to try to make those creative decisions that really the filmmaker should have control over. So I only have the Samyang 85mm, which for a full frame camera looks absolutely fabulous, but it is definitely kind of a telephoto look. Samyang also makes a 50 1.5, a 24 1.5, and a 35 1.5. And what really blows this away for me is this 85mm lens is $269. And if you compare that to a similar like Canon Prime 85 T1.5 lens, that's several $1,000s, and the quality here, it looks really, really good. I'm looking on Amazon here, and Samyang actually offers a special on their 3-pack, so you get the 35, 50, and 85. All 3 of those for just over $1,000. Holy cow. I'm definitely considering picking up the other 2 in this set and probably selling my Canon 50 f1.4, because while it has been a good lens, the autofocus sucks for video, I'm sorry, but it's really not good, and a T1.5 is much, much wider. The aperture on this, holy cow. These super wide apertures usually are what costs cinema lenses to go into the thousands of dollars, and for you to get this good of optics and this wide of an aperture for $269, like, who wouldn't pick that up to make your videos look this cinematic? Alright, so that's basically it for this follow-up of this lens. I really thought I should come back to this because I was so blown away at the image quality in real-world use that this guy has, and to have complete control over both the focus and aperture for the whole time I was shooting, I just left the aperture at t1.5, and that's how you have that super beautiful depth of field. This is literally the shallowest depth of field you could possibly buy for a lens at this price. And if you're on a budget but want to get that super cinematic look, I'd definitely check out the Samyang lenses linked in the description below. That's it for this video. I'm gonna get back to shooting because this is literally like the most fun I've ever had. Thank you for watching, and as always, don't forget to keep it pro.